Terrell Thomas, These Urban Times. I'm sitting down with a gentleman who I've known for some time. I've been seeing him do his thing in many different fields. He's taking on a new hat, no pun intended, as an entrepreneur in a field that I love seeing a lot of African Americans get involved in, and especially a lot of African American males. But I'm gonna let him introduce and talk a little bit more about that, and we'll get into that. Dioh Williams, how you feeling today, good sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure to talk to you. It's great because we do a lot of talking online and things of that nature. So it's great to actually, see your face, talk to you, not in person, but almost as close to in person as
As
we
good as
can.
we can get
Yeah,
COVID
yeah,
times.
as we can get during these times. But you are doing some new things, as I mentioned. And the road of entrepreneurship is something that you're no stranger to. But you're taking on a new role or a new mission, I guess we should say, with high fashion pressure. Um,
Yeah.
and you're diving into the cannabis industry. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Oh man. All right. The first thing you know, New Jersey just went legal. That like literally happened a month ago, maybe. You know what I mean? It's so new. So the cannabis industry here has always been black market on the East Coast, pretty much. There's no real, legal market here. So, and that's what led me to travel to see a couple of different things in the world. You know what I mean? So, like Portland, Oregon is one of the places I landed and found that they were more friendlier for the culture of cannabis and the business of cannabis, and getting involved. So it was much more easier to get involved there than it was here. But times have changed. So things are changing. So I'm changing with the times now. So I'm back in Jersey. I still operate a grow in Portland, Oregon right now, medical grow. And I'm going to probably make the transition over here if New Jersey allows it.
Okay.
One thing, Portland did give me experience, you know what I mean, in the cannabis industry. You know what I mean? Especially as a black man, Portland is like 5% black people. So, they kind of welcome the minorities to get involved in the situation. So, yeah.
Okay. Now, for our audience who may not be familiar exactly in the cannabis community, explain to them, if you could, for me, please, what a grow is, so they can kind of dive and understand exactly what you have in Portland.
Well, in New Jersey, it's so illegal to grow marijuana. Totally. In Oregon, it's a given right, So Portland allows you to grow recreationally, but medically much more than recreationally, of course. Recreationally is just for fun, like alcohol. Medicinally, of course, medically. So I was able to get a medical card there, get a medical grow permit, and I was actually able to start growing cannabis out of a location there, I'm going to put it, in Portland. And it's been going pretty well. It's been maybe about 7 months now, trial and error. We lost one. But it's just an experience for me coming from New Jersey and landing there. It was a total experience. It was worth whatever we paid to get it done. So
now, talk to me about your background a little bit as well, because if I understand, you caught a felony growing up, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken. So
yeah, I caught a felony.
about how that has impacted what you're doing right now.
I caught a felony pretty early. Might have been 19, 20. I was in a car by myself, but the car was just parked with some weed in the back. I didn't even have it on me. Literally, I know if I had lawyers and whatever, I wouldn't have had the felony. But more or less, they searched the car. It wasn't my car. They found some weed. Nobody was around. It was just me. So they charged me with it. I didn't know. When I went to court, they were like, "Oh, you're so lucky. We're going to look out for you. No prison time, but you're going to get probation with back of 18 months. So if you violate probation, you're going to prison for 18 months. And we're going to let you off early with some fines." I was like, "Well, no jail? Okay, cool." You know what I mean? I copped out, not knowing as an adult in Superior Court, when you take a plea, that's permanent. It's a felony, and I didn't know at the time. So after that, finding a job was the hardest thing ever. The streets was always there. So, and I always went to the streets. And then finally I did get work, but it was remedial work. I was in the kitchen, nothing against that, but, I always knew I needed to be bigger and do better than the kitchen. And I basically, it did hold me back from being mentally able to join the corporate world of anything, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm a felon. Nobody wants to take me. So that affected me a lot, So when I finally did get a job, I didn't like it. I didn't want it. I'm like, man, I've been holding my own all this time. Why I got to listen to these people really just demean me sometimes, you know what I mean? I worked at Whole Foods, you know what I mean? So it was no shame in that. It was cool, but it built me a lot of skill and discipline that I needed. You know, you got to get there at 6 a.m. What time you think you got to leave to get there? You know what I mean? The sun is not even up, and I was doing that. But that was a grind period of like, you know what? Like when people come from prison, it was similar to like that, where I had to basically get readjusted to earning a legal income, you know, because the streets is all right, but it was hit and miss for a while. So I got the job. And I worked and I saved money, and I started making music, you know what I mean? I started traveling, and I ran into you in Texas, you know what I mean? South by Southwest, you know, and I just pursued the music with a passion, just trying to stay out of the streets as much as possible, you know, because I felt music is the only way out once you're felon, right? Most rappers, you know, I was in the streets and I did this. So I was like, you know what? Fine, this is what I'm supposed to do. Because it ain't gonna be weed, because clearly it's illegal. It's never gonna be legal. And that was my mind frame. So make music. I met another guy who was a cannabis activist, NJ Weedman. He's relatively famous in New Jersey for pulling the most craziest stunts. And maybe about 5 years ago, you know, I started visiting his restaurant he had in Trenton, the Lounge. And it was the only place you can really go and sit and smoke and not worry. Indoors, you know what I mean? And then there's a backyard outdoors. So it became a regular place for me for a while, to the point where I actually started promoting for events there. Of course, I was a rapper. I want to perform. I could bring people out. And one thing led to another. I was actually managing the place. I worked my way up. It was just one of those situations. I was there at the right time in the place. He had went to jail, came home, whatever. So he's pretty big now. He just opened a club in Miami. Well, the grand opening is July 2nd. I was gonna go down, but Florida's a different animal, you know what I mean? And New Jersey is where the income is. So I'm like, I'm gonna stay in New Jersey for a little while longer. I'm gonna figure it out. Of course, I'm gonna go visit Florida, but right now, my number one thing was getting higher fashion pressure off the ground, t-shirt, clothing wise. And we also offer something that's never been done before. When you make a purchase of a shirt at full price, I'll give you a little something, take home with you. Every time.
That's very dope.
And that's big here.
Talk to me about how welcoming, as you mentioned, like when you were in Portland or whatnot, how welcoming the cannabis community is for folks who may have, you know, something on their past records and things of that nature, but they're looking to do more with their lives as you were, because you found success, as you mentioned. Like this is a whole new chapter, a whole new start, a whole new you that you're able to, you know, find success and make something happen for, where a few years ago, as you mentioned, like you were being penalized and punished for, you know, similar actions. So talk to me just about how welcoming it is.
You know, it's crazy because it leads back to hip hop, right? It leads back to hip hop because we're Black, we're entrepreneurs, and that's where the most guys are in hip hop. The entrepreneurs come out of that one way of the culture, whether it's the promoter or the artist, right? Jim Jones has a weed company called Saucy. Okay. So of course I was in the music. I know a couple people. And I ran into Alex Todd's brother. Alex Todd's the jeweler that makes watches for Jay-Z. And Alex Todd's pretty big in New York. So I had always social networks. So I was inboxing Alex Todd. I was like, hey man, what's up? I'm out in Portland, my first trip. I know you guys got Saucy out here. You know, I'm from East Coast with them. So he's like, you know what? I got you. And he responded back. And he's like, go to this place and talk to this, my brother there or nephew there. I went there and it was like snowball, man. I was like, because I was already excited to be there. So, you know, I met everybody. I'm like, cool. And just the blessing from Alex was like, all right, he's cool. So they introduced me to another person introduced me to a Black developer there who developed building a building there, like literally apartment, high-end building. And he just turned out to be a down-to-earth, good Black man who makes a lot of money, lives in Portland, and was like, yo, come on in, I'll show you. Took me out to dinner. They introduced me to another dispensary owner who took me to another, and it snowballed. And everybody embraced me to the point where once you came in on a reference like that, like, because of course it's cannabis. So some crime comes with it. So a lot of people are not like open to say, oh, just come and show you. No, but when you come in reputable with a good reputation, boom, the doors open, they flew open, they keep opening. You know what I mean? I ended up working with some people that work for Burner, the cookies guys, over there. Shout out to Pankies. They're They're a company over there that lets me operate, and I work with them when I go there because you have to have a license. Clearly, license is a lot of money, but it is welcoming. I can't. It's so much stuff I can't even. I want to go on forever.
No, all up. I understand. I understand. Are you working on any strands of your own right now what exactly are you growing and everything?
The beauty about Portland, you can walk in the dispensary and buy an already half-grown plant, like not half-grown, but like out the soil, leaves up, going. You just buy them and take them home. They give you the strain or whatever. And just some people just go put it on the window. Some people like me go in a room and line them up with lights and everything. So it was that's another aspect of it, genetics crossing to create, and that was like a scientific part of it that I learned. And that was something I was like, what? And then this comes from this, and then, you know, Wiz got his own strain, of course, Snoop. These were some of the first people in this business, you know, but we were on we're on the East Coast, so we didn't know how deep it was over here. Wiz, Be Real, you know, Cypress Hill, they got a strain in the market. So when I found this, I was like, yo, this is crazy. Everybody's got Nipsey, RP the Great, you know, he had that, and his was one of the most popular weeds I've ever, you know, dealt with, the Marathon OG. People were raving about it, not just because he passed, whatever. It was the shit beforehand.
I respect that.
You know what I mean? So a lot of rappers, they embraced it fast on the West Coast. We didn't know over here that you could do that. So when I found out, I was like, yo, I got to get my own strain, you know. So right now I'm working with Capone from CNN.
Okay.
Capone Noriega. We're trying to get him a strain. Oh, damn, I should have brought it. I had it somewhere. I got his somewhere here. A Queensbridge pack. You know, Nori don't have their smoke champs and stuff over there. So they're in Florida, just in Miami sometimes. So I reached out to them. So they got something coming up on the 24th. So just networking with the community, and everyone's in the community. It's the same community. Hip hop and cannabis is damn near the same. It's just a little separation. But for the most part, you're gonna run into the same people, man. Like Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? Who knew?
Man, before I let you go today, and it's been great to sit and chat with you, let our audience know how they can engage with you. Let our audience know how they can check out.
Just like it's spelled. High Fashion Pressure on Instagram, High Fashion Pressure on Facebook. The website launches probably within 5 days. I want to do it right. You can purchase high fashion t-shirts and hats, and it'll come with a free gift. If you're in New Jersey, I can ship it to you. If you're not, you might have to commute here, but legally, I mean, that's what I'm going to tell you. But for the most part, it's a free fall in New Jersey. I want people to know they need to come here, spend money with the economy, build the economy, work with it. You know, I'm from Trenton, New Jersey, the capital, you know, but the whole New Jersey is doing it real big. And that's about it. Thank y'all for having me. And, you know what I mean? I look forward to seeing you down the road more on this cannabis journey.
Yes, indeed, man. We're going to, in a few months, I say, as things continue to open, we might have to actually come out to Portland with you one time and see how things are actually going. And you know,
wonderful, man. Yeah,
man. Congratulations on the success that you're having with the business, and we look forward to seeing your growth. No pun intended.
Hey.
Much love, dog. Much love.
Much love. Thank you, man.